Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video. Today, I found a thread on r/NBA, the NBA subreddit, that I will link in the description below, and it lists a bunch of, unbelievable but also true NBA facts, and I thought it'd be pretty fun to go through those facts, talk about them, just kind of talk about some of the craziest coincidences and facts in NBA history. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I said, the thread will be in the description if you want to look more at it, and the first comment on the thread is that the Indiana Pacers have never had the number one overall pick and have never even had a former number one overall pick play for them. Now, this is one I did know, but even still, it feels kind of insane. Like, even if you don't ever get a number one overall pick, which is kind of impressive, I guess, for a franchise, both in kind of a good and bad way, because you've never been bad enough to get the number one overall pick, or you've just been unlucky enough in the lottery to have never gotten it. But kind of just the fact that, not even that, but the fact that they've never had a former number one overall pick play for them, I guess kind of just speaks to how Indiana is a smaller market. Like, you would think at some point, whether it's like a number one overall pick in the twilight of their career or someone that was kind of a bust, you think at some point one of them would end up in Indiana, a team that's been a team since forever. Following up that is that they haven't had a pick inside the top 10 since 1989, and that is one that will change this season because the Pacers are going to have the fifth best lottery odds, so theoretically they can't fall outside of the top 10, so that one won't be true anymore after this upcoming lottery. But the fact that even since 1989 is kind of insane to me. So Pacers fans, wishing, as a fellow lottery fan, I'm wishing you luck in this lottery. Moving on past that, we've got Wilt never fouled out once in his entire career, which is kind of insane for a guy that was blocking so many shots, that was such really a big physical force down low. You think at some point he would just happen to foul out, especially because he would play like every single game. Like, there was that one season where he averaged over 48 minutes a game. You think at one of those times, in one of those games, like, he played every minute of the entire season, and he didn't foul it once just in that season. The fact that he didn't do it is kind of incredible. So the fact that over the course of an entire career he never fouled out is kind of insane. Moving on beyond that, we've got the Manute Bol, blocked more than 10% of all two-point shots attempted while he was on the floor, and he has more career blocks than points. Kind of crazy. Once again, Manute Bol, a great shot blocker. The fact that 10% of shots, so anytime a team took 10 shots in a game while he was on the court, he blocked at least one of them. That's kind of nuts, especially thinking about most the best shot blockers in the NBA, like Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., Miles Turner, they average right around 2 blocks a game. That is nowhere near the amount of shots that they probably see while they're up on the court. They probably see 60 shots a game, so it's one in 30, which is a 3% or something like that. It was very rough math, but that's a lot of shots to block, so that's super impressive. Also, the more career blocks and points is also kind of crazy. A vote to change the name to the New Jersey Nets to the Swamp Dragons passed 26-1, and the lone no vote was from the New Jersey Nets. This is one that I've thought about before. I mean, Swamp Dragons, it's not the best professional basketball name, but would I love to have seen it happen? Absolutely. I think it would have been super fun for them to be the Swamp Dragons. Imagine right now Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden having teamed up this past season on the the Brooklyn or New Jersey, if they stayed there, Swamp Dragons. It would have been fun, just the concept. It's a very different name, I feel like, from a lot of NBA teams. A lot of them were just like birds or weather or just aspects like the Nets, stuff like that. It's not a ton of creativity, and so I think the Swamp Dragons would have been a super fun name. I still think that Swamp Dragons, if they do an expansion team, they should consider it, whether it's to Vegas or something like that. I'm sure they won't go for it, but I'm a Swamp Dragons believer. I think it would work out well, so I'm in favor of the Swamp Dragons coming through at some point. 3 teams have won an NBA championship without having a player win an MVP before, during, or after that season. The 1989 Pistons, the 1990 Pistons, and the 2004 Pistons. Also, maybe the 2019 Raptors if Kawhi never wins one, which they say here he probably won't because he rests a lot. He has knee issues. That's crazy. First of all, shout out to the Pistons. I feel like the Pistons really are the poster child of like winning without having like a star player. Of course, like that 2004 Pistons team is the one that mainly comes to mind for me. The team that just kind of killed everyone defensively. So obviously that team does come to mind. But the fact that it was only 3 teams, it really speaks to how the NBA is a really superstar oriented league. You need an all NBA caliber player. You need some kind of superstar to win in this league. And the fact that only 4 teams ever, assuming Kawhi doesn't win an MVP, which I don't think he will, have done it, it's insane. And it also adds some more kind of love, I think, to that 2019 Raptors team. Sure, Kawhi, if he ever played a full season, definitely could have won an MVP at one point. But the fact that they join a list of only 4 teams to ever do it without an MVP caliber player is kind of insane. So shout out to the Raptors and shout out to the Pistons as a franchise. Next one is, let's see. Oh, I think I skipped past one. No, for some reason that's not even showing up. Let's see. Tony Snell has not missed a free throw since before COVID. So since COVID has been a thing, Tony Snell is 46 of 46 from the free throw line from 2019 to 2022. And he made his final 4 free throws of the 18-19 season. So he's made 50 straight free throws. Now, of course, that's not a lot of free throws, but the fact that over the course of like 4 years, Tony Snell hasn't missed a free throw is kind of insane. Also here, another weird Tony Snell fact is that he has an active streak of 517 consecutive game minutes played without attempting a single free throw, which is more than 10 full 48-minute NBA games. Like, Tony Snell, of course, doesn't attack the basket or anything like that, but you think he'd get fouled once on like a 3-point shot, just like he would get the ball at a point where the other team needs to foul. You think somehow they would end up with a free throw, but Tony Snell just can't seem to get to the line. Maybe teams are doing it on purpose. Maybe they're not sending him to the line because they know he's just going to knock it down and it's guaranteed. So maybe it's really a strategic thing rather than like a weird luck thing. So I'm not putting it past NBA strategists. Moving on, we have Tim Duncan only had 15 goaltends in his 19-year career. For some perspective, Clint Capella leads the league in goaltends this season with 17 through 72 games with a few more games to go, with JaVale McGee having 15 in the same amount. I know he wasn't a huge leaper, but as a big rim protector, to literally average less than 1 goaltend per year is insane. It really does speak to Tim Duncan as a defensive player. It is a travesty that he never won a Defensive Player of the Year, despite, as the person that commented below saying, he was on 15 all-defensive teams. He was someone who rarely ever made mistakes defensively, great shot blocker, just all-around great interior presence down low. It's really impressive that Tim Duncan never had a goaltend. Now, I guess part of that is like he wasn't a big leaper, so to kind of get a goaltend, you have to hit the ball while it's above the rim, and that was really never Tim Duncan's game. But even still, to only get that many goaltends over the course of a 19-year career is insane. Less than 1 a season on average is wild, and just kind of continues to prove how kind of underrated I feel like Tim Duncan is over the course of his career. Shout out to the big fundamental. Moving on from that one, we've got the Utah Jazz went over 2 decades without a center averaging 10 points per game. And if Chris Paul had the best 5 games of his career assists-wise in a row, it still wouldn't be as many as an actual 5-game stretch of Stockton's career where he averaged 20.2 assists per game. That's crazy. So if Chris Paul got his best career assist total 5 games in a row, it would not match that stretch from John Stockton, which is really ridiculous and speaks to, I don't know if anyone's ever going to break Stockton's assist record, his longevity, and his just the ability to continue to rack up those assist numbers. I don't think anyone is going to touch that for a really long time. And the fact that they went over 2 decades without having a center average 10 points per game is also kind of insane, because you look at it and they had Karl Malone, who was a great, of course, all-time scorer as a big, yet they didn't have a center averaging 10 points per game for more than 2 decades. Let's see. We have the 2004 Detroit Pistons, renowned for having one of the greatest defenses of all time, were not number 1 in defensive rating that season. Interesting. Someone says here, who was first? I wonder if anyone said. The Spurs. Okay, so it was the Spurs, I guess, that season that had the number 1 rating. That's insane, because yeah, we were just talking about it earlier, how that 2004 Pistons team is one that me and many others look at as one of the greatest defensive teams of all time, and I think their playoff run does kind of solidify them in that way, but still, it's kind of nuts that they didn't have the best defense in the league. I guess it kind of goes to show how much a championship can kind of shape narratives around things. Let's see. There have been 4 times in league history that someone has averaged 40 plus points per game in a playoff series, plus the 5 times that MJ did it. There's only been 2 times that someone won a scoring title and a ring, Kareem and Shaq, plus the 6 times MJ did it. There's only been 2 times in league history that someone won a scoring title and first team all defense, plus the 9 times MJ did it. It's MJ. MJ has some of the craziest stats. This one is wild because so many of these, like averaging 40 plus points per game in a playoff series, that's something that is super elite. And you think it would happen multiple times, maybe like a first seeded team, like in a 4-game series, like a Shaq would have a few of them, maybe like a Kobe, LeBron probably could have done it at one point. But the fact that it's only happened 4 times and MJ's done it 5 out of the 9 total times is insane. Same with the other 2 stats. MJ, there's not much more you can say about him. Let's see. I don't know about unbelievable, but the top 3 winningest duos in playoff history are just different combinations of the Spurs' big 3. You've got Parker and Ginobili, Duncan and Parker, and Duncan and Ginobili. The Spurs, like this stretch of success that they had between the Greg Popovich, like the beginning with Tim Duncan getting drafted, through this upcoming era, and eventually when Tim Duncan and them did retire, all with Greg Popovich. We're not going to see an era like that for an individual team for a very, very long time. Like, you've got a team like the Sacramento Kings who hasn't made the playoffs in so long. There's so much like fluctuation in the NBA with, especially nowadays with how stars move a bunch. We see more league movement, it feels like, than ever. Players getting to choose where they want to go. Coaches being fired a lot more often than they are. The Spurs really just were a staple of the NBA for such a long time that I don't think we're going to see that matched for a while. I don't think we're ever going to see that long of a stretch again where you have an all-time coach and this core of players that just stick together to continue having long-term success, winning championships for that long. It's kind of surreal, and it does speak a lot of the Spurs organization and really everyone involved in that run. Let's see. In the NBA, 2 players have won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. Wilt Chamberlain in 1960, Wes Unseld in 1969, and only 1 player achieved this same feat in the ABA, Spencer Haywood in 1970. I don't know much about Spencer Haywood. He's definitely not on the levels of Wilt Chamberlain and Wes Unseld, so it's kind of crazy. I feel like there are a lot of those stats where it's like only 3 players have done this, and it's like 2 Hall of Fame names, and then someone you haven't heard much about before. Like, I've definitely heard the name Spencer Haywood before, but like I can't tell you anything really about his career. So it just kind of goes to show how the NBA has so many like crazy stats involved in it, which is part of why I wanted to make this video. Jeremy Lamb is a 9-year NBA veteran, which is crazy to think about. 2013, yeah, that adds up. Obviously, as a Thunder fan, like I saw Jeremy Lamb very early on. But the fact that like he's been in the league for that long, it makes me feel very old. A lot of y'all are probably like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But like, I feel very old when I hear that Jeremy Lamb has been in the league for 9 years. Andre Drummond once shot 36 free throws in a game and ended with 17 points. It's Andre Drummond. There was that period when he was on the Pistons where now he's a little bit better of a free throw shooter. I think he's right around like 50-ish%. But there was a period where like Drummond was having some of the worst. It was so hard to watch. And I remember this game where he shot, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I think I remember like going to high school lunch and talking about it with my friends. The fact that he shot 36 free throws and ended with 17 points. You know, it's not the best. It's not exactly what you want to see. They are free throws, so to end up with only 17 points, because I'm sure he made some actual shots in there as well. Part of me wants to say maybe this game was against the Spurs, but I'm not sure on that. Just, testing my memory there. We'll end off on one more. Let's see. Let's go with, so this is one from up at the top. Tom Brady is more likely to win a Super Bowl than Julius Randle or Russell Westbrook are to make a three-pointer. Which both says a lot about Tom Brady, and I guess also about how Julius Randle and Russell Westbrook have shot this season. But yeah, just, kind of fun inner sports factor that speaks a lot about stuff. We'll actually go one more. The first NBA game was played in Toronto, Canada. And so those were some crazy NBA facts. Let me know what your favorite one was in the comment section down below. Also, if you have any other crazy facts that we didn't go through in this video, please comment them down below. I love stuff like this, despite being a massive NBA fan, of course, as you can probably tell. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know, and a lot of these facts caught me off guard, so I'm curious to hear what y'all have to say. Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I appreciate y'all watching. I will see y'all later. Real one, say it back.